AC, on the road trip, the second half defense was excellent. I think held teams under 50 points on average in the second half. Can you kind of take me inside like the process of what happens as you guys kind of gather up at halftime and figure out, all right, here are the things that we can control in the second half?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is just like recreating the habits that we had last year that made us, really good defensively. You can't take for granted, what we did last year and coming into the new year. And I think a couple of times in the first half, maybe we've done that. And it's just kind of been a course correct, kind of a recognition from, the guys that are playing just in what we need to do. And mainly what we're doing incorrect that we need to get corrected in the second half. And yeah, I think we've done a pretty good job of that, like you said.
And overall, the paint defense has been really good for the season. I think teams are only shooting 48% in the paint against you guys. I know it helps to have the 2 7-footers in there, but as a team, what's working with that?
Yeah, the 3 centers this year is helping a lot. I think we're just having a good mindset of what we're willing to give up and what we're willing to live with defensively. We talk about stuff that how we want to play, the shots, shot selection for the other team that we don't want to give up, the ones that we're comfortable with them taking versus ones we don't want to give up. And, a lot of the teams are chasing the same shots, free throws, layups, dunks, restricted area shots, and catch and shoot threes. So just trying to be diligent about taking those things away.
How do you see Chet kind of adjust to the power forward position over the last couple of years since you got Hartenstein? He'd never really played it prior.
I mean, I think it's somewhat easy for him. I know I've seen, first clip I think everybody ever saw of Chet playing basketball was him on the perimeter doing a triple behind the bag, going by Steph and then dunking it, or laying it up. So he's well versed in playing out on the perimeter. I think for him it's just about, recognizing when to be aggressive and how he can affect the game, without having the ball in his hands to start. And I think he's done a good job of that. I think he's finding spots on the court. He's finding himself in spots that are, 5-10 feet away. And then obviously his shooting is complementary to that and being 7, whatever. But I think he's doing a great job of, getting to spots to be aggressive rather than thinking he has to do it, with the ball from 30 feet every single time, which I think has just kind of opened up stuff for him.
How tough a balance is it though for a young or talented guy who wants to probably explore, can be offensive, but you're on a team like that?
Yeah, I mean that's the NBA. There's time and place for you to work on your game, and if you're on the right team, which we are, you're trying to win games, and there's some sacrifice that comes with that. Obviously for him, his third year in the league, he has a lot of years left and a lot of basketball to play. Like I think he's going to develop and grow into whatever he kind of wants to. I think even from the short off season, y'all can tell that he's worked on his game and gotten better. So those are things for him that I'm not worried about, and I don't think he has too much worry about because there's opportunities through the season to explore and to manipulate and work on it. And we as a team and organization encourage him to, because obviously his tremendous ability and size that not a lot of people have that combo.
Casey's talked about this year. He's added a little more work in the film room. How have you seen that help him on both ends?
Yeah, I mean, just the reps of going through the league, you start to pick up tendencies. You start to see stuff for the second, third, fourth, fifth time, in person, on film. It just helps your comfortability with it. You're not thinking as much on the court. You kind of anticipate and know what to expect. Offensively, defensively, what actions and sets you're going to get, what stuff you're going to have to guard. So for him, I think people forget because he's played so many minutes from such a young age that this is just his third year, and like he can still get a lot better too, which is encouraging. And that's one of the ways that you can kind of steal, increments of ability to gain when you're not on the court and you're not playing games. So hopefully he continues that. And, that's something that I've harped on and talked to him about, just about, once you pick up guys' tendencies, you can really start to like manipulate the game with your mind. And then from there, your physical abilities just kind of step in the way. Whereas he's just so physically gifted, he's been able to just step in and guard people at a high level. So it's kind of scary when you think about it, like that he can get better, in that aspect.
You're kind of known for being able to guard all the types of scorers. I'm just curious with Steph, how unique of a guard is he, to defend?
Yeah, I mean the threat of the shot is, one of the great offensive weapons I think of this generation of basketball. Just stretching the floor, and it opens up driving lanes for guys. Like Steph's not small, but for NBA standards, he's one of the smaller guys, and so just being able to create angles and to get downhill and to be able to finish how he does, and then now you're bringing fouls in and getting to the free throw line. It just makes it really difficult, and then, he throws up some crazy shots that go in, and that's just kind of part of his greatness that he has and a lot of people don't have. But they also do a great job of, like, his marriage with Draymond and how they've played over the years. And then they got other guys. They've had Clay in the past. Now they got some different guys. They brought Buddy in, and Moses Moody's shooting the ball well. Like, different guys to open up that space for him, because if it was just him and four guys who couldn't score, couldn't play offense, and a lot easier to guard him. But his dynamic skill set mixed with the way that they kind of move around and play is really hard to guard.
What is the key for you guys in the way you defend and you need for going against this version of the
Yeah, just being sharp with the details. A lot of times whenever you get a little too ramped up and revved up with Steph, that's when they start getting, ball into the pocket and they're playing 4-on-3 on the backside or 2-on-1 at the rim. And, a lot of times teams think that they get beat over the top with, the Warriors, and maybe in the past, that was a little easier because they had 5 guys. Yeah, they had a bunch of different guys out there. Not that they don't now, but really taking care of the paint and the free throw line with them, I think, is the big thing. Like, they're gonna make threes. Everybody makes threes every night. Even if they get hot, controlling the paint, controlling the free throw lines where you can kind of make up for them.
You probably got the most familiarity with Butler of anybody in the locker room. What can you kind of tell us about some essentials against him?
Yeah, he's a smart player. He's been in the league forever. He's one of the great competitors that the league, has seen in our generation, but probably ever, just from a standpoint of, will to win and ability to compete. So matching that, and then just being smart with him. He's a crafty guy. He kind of knows who he is as a player, and he gets to his spots and gets to, areas on the floor where he can be successful. So just being smart with him, right? Trying to control, not fouling him, and then trying to be smart around the paint and make him finish, and understanding that he's a great player and he's going to make some of the hard ones.
Anything else? Thanks, Stacey. It's a home back-to-back for the Thunder. First off, the Golden State Warriors in town. I've got Isaiah Joe here alongside me. And Isaiah, I'm sure in some ways you guys are still kind of trying to unpack after that long 4-game road swing where you went all the way west and came back to Memphis. What's this like in terms of just the professionalism required, the mindset required to get back and get focused, knowing that you've got a veteran team coming into this building and you've got to get back on your feet?
Yeah, I mean, despite the road trip, we still got to go out here and play basketball. We're happy to be home, get to play in front of our crowd, after sleeping in our own bed. But it's been fun. I think we were tested on this road trip, with time change, the scheduling and all that. And so everything that's happening, it's only making us stronger. We got a really good team coming in here tonight. We're just ready for the competition.
There's a few through lines, particularly defensively, from the road trip and maybe the season as a whole, but second halves on that road trip, you held teams to under 50 points in those second halves. What's key for this group when you come out of the locker room at halftime in terms of either what you've talked about or what you've just seen and absorbed during the game?
Being able to learn and take away, what we've done in the prior half to go out there and correct our mistakes, get back to our brand of basketball. Obviously, we would love to put together a full 48 minutes, but we do, believe in the power of being able to adjust and fix the car, get it back on the road in the middle of the game. And I think we do that at a very high level. And so, the game's not going to always be perfect, but as long as we can, adjust that way and get it back going, we'll be in good shape.
What does that look like in the locker room? I mean, none of these fans get to experience that of what goes down, because it's not very much time to be able to talk about what you need to talk about and then go out there and actually do it. It seems like a very impressive skill.
Yeah, I think this team just has a very good job of holding accountability. We understand that it's not going to be perfect, but we can, win games when having bad quarters, bad halves. But we have to have we have to be able to be honest with ourselves to go out there and, understand that we weren't playing our brand of basketball and that we have to do better, in the second half.
The other thing defensively is you're on track to be one of the best paint defensive teams in the last 10 years or so. Teams are only shooting 48% in the paint against you all. You got a couple 7-footers down there, which certainly helps. But big picture, how is that all working together to prevent teams from scoring easily down there?
I mean, we do a good job of guarding with all 5. We don't believe that anybody should be left on the island. We put the fire out, once it gets ignited. And so, teams going to try to get to the paint. We got to have secondary actions to, cut them off and react to whatever they have next after that. But yeah, amongst the 7-footers that are really good rim protectors, we guard with everybody.
Yeah, and what kind of threat is that tonight with the Warriors coming into town? Everybody thinks of Steph Curry as a 3-point shooter, but so much of the way that he can hurt you is the way he penetrates and gets into the lane too.
Yeah, no, he plays very well. He's scoring at all 3 levels, but not just him. They do a really good job of moving around with cuts and back doors. They keep some of the DHOs and try to get downhill, some to score, some to create. And so we have to be able to once again guard with all 5, put out the fire, and figure out what's happening next.
You're scoring at all 3 levels too. You've had some crafty layups around the rim, some mid-range jumpers when guys are kind of trying to run you off the line, and still I think 8 straight games now with at least 2 made threes. What has gone into your personal development to be able to have counters for how you're guarded? It seems like that's every young player's challenge is, okay, they're guarding me a certain way now. I've got to have an answer for that.
I mean, just figuring out what teams, want you to do the least. For me, it's shoot the 3, and working off, actions out of that, being able to play off the catch and try to create either for myself or for others. Just playing smart basketball, just searching for the right shot at all times.
Well, you're still, despite all that defensive pressure, one of the leaders in 3-point shooting this year in the NBA. Congrats on that, and good luck here tonight, Isaiah.
Thank you, Nick.
All right, that's Isaiah Joe. I'm Nick Gallo. This is Thunder Basketball.